I am here with Torsten from Tease Guitars, and he sent me an incredible guitar. I have here a silver burst telly, man, one of the coolest headstocks and logos, the SBH-HD. We're going to get into talking about the Tease guitars and how you can get yourself one of these with a discount code. There will be a link in the description. There will be a demo of the guitar in the video. But the really cool thing is that Torsten is a former Sunset Strip guitar player. And I want to hear his story. Can you tell me about the band you were in and what clubs you played and all that stuff?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. First of all, bass player.
Ah, bass player. Okay, my
Bass player,
bad.
yeah. Back then, this was 1978 to 1983. We got into playing at the Strip, I think 1980 or something like that. I was 16 years old, man, so it was hard for
Wow.
me to get in. I had a fake ID to get into some of the clubs that we played at, and we started out playing in a band called Rude Awakening. And we were playing Perkins Palace, the Ice House. We did a lot of stuff down in Orange County, Anaheim, at Radio City and Woodstock. And that band, 16th birthday, or 16, I was 16 years old, and my parents went out of town for 10 days and came back in 9, and we were having a little party on that day, and so that got me booted out of the house pretty quick, man.
Wow.
And then I ended up going to the Orange County Recycler, and that's where you went if you were a musician and you were looking to play. You just went there. There's pages and pages and pages of people seeking people, as far as musicians went, and hooked up with a few guys down in Orange County, Garden Grove, California, and we put together a band called Nightmare, and we got a singer that was from Illinois. And he used to be the lead singer. His name's, we call him Rotten Rod. His name's Denny Carlock. He was a lead singer for Agent Orange for a while. And then we got together, and him and our guitar player, Van Simmons, and we had another guitar player, a rhythm guitar player, Tracy West. I think drummer was Jim Johnston. He's out of Brea, California. He's a really good drummer. And we put together a set list. It took about, Jesus Christ, man. We practiced, and we practiced in a laundry room at Tracy's apartment. I mean, it was tight, bro. But we rehearsed and rehearsed. We put together a set list of all original music, about 8, 10 songs, and we took that and we started playing at Radio City again in Woodstock and Jezebel's, the Golden Bear out there in Huntington Beach. Then we went to Ice House, Perkins Palace. I played at Gazzarri's quite a few times. Troubadour, Madame Wong's. I mean, just the whole circuit,
Yeah.
Back then, it was everybody was going to the Strip. It was not. It was a lifestyle, dude. And it wasn't just a lifestyle for the musicians. It was a lifestyle for the fans, dude. These guys would pull up and girls would pull up with, 8 cans of Aquanet and just, I mean, running around, and what are we going to wear tonight was the most important deal. I remember going to gigs and forgetting what I was going to wear. And my girlfriend, she'd literally in the back, she'd take off her shirt and she goes, "Here, wear this today." It comes up a midriff shirt or something. And I was like, "Yeah, all right, whatever," and that's just kind of the way we rolled. We were on stage with bands that were coming up that weren't they weren't recognized yet. They weren't signed yet. There was a lot of really good bands. I mean, just a lot of talent on the Sunset Strip, and it was from guys just like us. We didn't get our ticket punched. We had a couple of producers come up and say, "Hey, we're going to do this," but that all fell apart. We did put out a record. And that went nowhere. And then later on, Nightmare 2 came along, and they put out a record with Azra, and a couple of records actually with Azra, and some other labels. Raucous Records was one of those. It was just a lot of fun. I was, again, man, I was 17 years old, you know, and a guitar player flipped into a bass player. That's what they did. Couldn't find a bass player.
Yeah.
Your guitar player became the bass player.
Yep.
And luckily, my father was a bass player, and he was a very talented musician. He was in the Army. He was a band conductor for the Army for 32 years.
Wow.
So when I turned bass, I sat down with my dad, and we hit it, and we hit it hard. You know, I took piano lessons at 3 years old, and so he taught me the fundamentals of bass guitar, and I actually put, you know, it wasn't just the thump and heavy metal. I mean, I involved jazz and blues and things like that into the heavy metal music we were playing, and it was all original. And
Wow.
bands, who were we playing with? We were playing with Slayer. We were playing with Leatherwolf. We were playing with same stage Metallica. Um,
Wow.
we actually rehearsed Orange County. It was Phase One Audio. We were in the middle of recording or a rehearsal studio. That's when you could afford rehearsal studios,
Yeah.
right? And to the left of us was Slayer, and to the right of us was Metallica, you know, and it was a friggin' mess, man. You know,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, I thought I was living the dream that whole time, but it was Jesus, man. We hit it hard, like I said, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, man. It was just a lot of fun. The scene was fun. The musicians were fun. We all got along. I don't think any of us could be jealous about our musicianship. You know, we'd get jealous if somebody got a new belt or a spiked collar or something like that. It's like, where'd you get that? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was just, you know, that was kind of the deal. You know, it was literally sex, drugs, rock and roll. And then 81 came around, and that was kind of, you know, then AIDS came out, right? You know, and that slowed that slowed my roll down. You
Yeah.
know, I mean,
Yeah.
there was a little fear and stuff. So, but yeah, man, it was a blast, dude. It's something that you know, I tell my grandkids about it now, and it's just, it's part of my life. It molded me into who I am today. And,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, it molded me into who I am today, not um, because of the life lessons that I learned by living the way that I was living, you know,
Yeah.
but it was a life-changing event looking back on it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think, you know, there's a common thread. And I've had a lot of guys with the Sunset Strip. Now, I spent 30 years in Nashville, so it was relatively less time in LA and the Sunset Strip. You know, I was kind of there at the tail end. But, you know, we all learn these lessons, you know, and it's a certain redemption, you know, and coming back to realizing what is important in life. And you start to see some of those guys that we knew back then, unless they were the top, unless they were Van Halen or Motley Crue, you know, guys like Warrant and stuff, they're still having to play the fair circuit. You know, that is a tough, tough lifestyle. But also when you factor in, you know, the drugs and the sex, all of that, you know, it all seems fun, but it can get really scary really quickly. Was there a moment for you where you said, okay, I'm out, and like this was the defining moment?
Well, you know, I was deep into I was deep into it. And when I say deep into it, you know, I mean, I like Jack Daniels, I like Budweiser, and I like cocaine, man. And I loved sex, right? I loved heavy metal music. And I went to my first rehab at 17, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I got out of the rehab, you know, we went right back to rehearsal, and I was just like, hey, man, throw me that bottle. They're like, bro, you just got out of rehab. And I'm like, I know, I feel great. Let's go. I
Oh,
didn't know any better, you know. And
yeah.
dude, I fell off the second stage, the upstairs stage at Gazzarri's. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Wow.
and I just looked up, and I didn't feel any pain, you know, and I was just
Yeah.
like, somebody throw me a longer cord, man, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was, I've tried for probably, I'm going to say a good solid 38 years, 38 and a half years to manage my alcoholism. I tried to manage it.
Yeah.
I always thought that because I could manage everything else in life. I mean, it was good. You know, I own Tease Guitars now. I've owned printing companies, restaurant, all kinds of businesses I've owned. And I was a head guy in the car automobile business for Toyota. You know, I could manage everything, but when it came to drinking, man, I couldn't manage it. And yeah, there was a day. It was March 13th, 1983. And I don't want to bum anybody out. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me because it took what it took. But March 13th, 1983, I was out scoring drugs, man. My girl, one of my girls, right? It was a mess. Um, she was at home and she was just like, man, I'm forget. She was on the phone with her girlfriend. She's like, I'm forgetting something. I just don't know what it is. And she hung up the phone about an hour later, and she had realized that she'd put and this is my first son, his name was Michael, put him in the bathtub, turned the water on, and forgot he was in there. She took a phone call, you know, and he had passed away. And that was the last day that I ever did any drugs,
Yeah.
right? I put it down. That scared it. I mean, it was life-changing, to say the least.
Yeah.
Um, that was also my last drink for a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And I went on the straight and narrow, and life was going good. And then it caught up with me again, you know, and I relapsed and relapsed. Over the last 38 and a half years, now 45 years or so, I've been in over 100 different rehabs, bro.
Wow.
A
Wow.
hundred. You know, I was the kind of I was a guy. I graduated to a new level of drinking, and to where I would wake up in the morning and throw up 2 shots of vodka to get one down, you know, and that was just normal for me. That was
Yeah.
normal for me.
Yeah.
And about 4 years ago, I had woke up and I finally reached that point in the very end of the end, to where, you know, I woke up in the morning. My old lady, she's in the room next door trying to figure out a way how to get me out of the house without, you know, hurting my feelings. And I'm in the mirror and I'm just looking at myself. I had a pocket full of Percocets and I had a plan. You know, I had a plan. That was it. I didn't want to drink anymore. I couldn't stop drinking. I just couldn't. I couldn't stop drinking, but I definitely didn't want to live anymore. And so I did what I do every day. You know, I would go down to the liquor store. I'd get my sleeve of little short bottles, and get a pint of vodka, and get my 24-ounce 2 cans of beer, and that way I could go back. That would last me from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd go back and I'd just drink until I passed out. And that day I had a moment of clarity, and I called a rehab, and they said, we don't have a bed for you, man. Come Monday. I said, bro, I'll be dead by Monday, you know. And I again picked up the phone and I called one of my friends that worked at that rehab, and I said, bro, you got to get me a bed, man. I go, I'm done today. This is it. I'm ready to pull the trigger. And he said, can you come down now? And I was in Boston, Massachusetts, in a town called Dorchester. And I went down to the rehab I went to was in Worcester. And so I got on a train and I went down to Worcester, and I checked myself into that rehab. And it was just another spin drive for me. You know, it was 5 days in and out, and I'm going to feel better and hopefully I'll stop, because I had to medically detox. I would have
Yeah.
died, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and a guy came in and he's sitting at the table and he couldn't get food in his mouth and he couldn't do this and he couldn't drink. He's spilling stuff all over the place, you know. And I had helped him to his room at the end of the night, and changed his pissy clothes and everything like that. And I sat outside the door and something happened. He said, that's you. That's you. You know, I was a blackout drunk. And so the next day I called my wife up and I just, that's like now, I said, hey man, I said, I'm done. I said, come pick me up, you know, come pick me up. And she came pick me up, and haven't had a drink or the desire to drink since then. It was life changing to see. And
Wow.
I apologized to her because she never knew what she was coming home to. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But no, I didn't have this moment of clarity. I always thought I could manage it. I always had a different plan when I was going to get so, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. I didn't realize I'm a horrible manager when it comes to alcoholism, right?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's a rough one, man.
That is an incredible journey, and we're so glad that you've come out of that fog. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people that watch my channel, have come out of that fog. I sit every morning in the chat, and we call it the Breakfast Club at 8 a.m. and everybody's, chatting, and most of the guys are all sober, and but some of them have kicked different things and been through this journey, and it's kind of man, just kind of realizing what's important in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a long time to figure that out, and we all have a different journey and struggles to get there. But man, the main thing is that you made it out and you're here. And that is just an incredible story, man. I applaud you immensely. It's just amazing. And the fact that, now you've got this incredible guitar company, and you've got these really cool guitars that, I was sent, and, there's a lot of budget guitars, on the market. And but this one is really cool because, one, it's got the locking tuners on it. So that right out of the gate, and the tuners were real solid. A lot of times when you get a budget guitar, you're kind of like, this, but also the frets are completely smooth on the side. And it's really quite amazing. It's like these ball-in frets, on here, and really, it's an incredibly playing guitar, and it sounds great. There's going to be the demo, on this channel, and man, I just thank you so much for your journey and your story, and man, it's an incredible story.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a struggle. Yeah, that guitar. I gotta tell you, man. That's a second generation, actually third generation SBH. People ask for what SBH stands for, and I'll tell you what SBH stands for. The SB is for Silverburst.
Ah,
And the H is for humbucker. So we had an SB edition that we came out with, and that was just a single coil, a regular
yeah,
Alnico V's in it. Really nice sounding, twangy, telly sounding guitar. And then I came out with this humbucker guitar, and it was a little hot for the SBH. That's what
yeah,
the first one was called. And it was about 14. It was putting out of the bridge, and it was just a hot pickup, man. I mean, and so um, we loosened the wind on that pickup, and we brought it down to about 13. And it's a really nice pickup. It's a really nice guitar. That guitar's got everything in the world that one would pay for $1,000 guitar in it. It's got CTS pots, it's got Gabbert wiring, switchback style switch, 18-to-1 tuners, bow nut, stainless steel ball end rounded frets that are level polished, straight as an arrow. I mean, we put a lot of time into those guitars. I put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in the sustain on that guitar, 17 seconds. That you can't get that on many guitars. Um, I'm real proud of that guitar.
yeah. I now that you're telling me all these specs, I'm like, because I noticed when I, a lot of times with a budget guitar, when you start to turn the volume knob, it cuts off immediately.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I noticed when I was just like, this thing is not cutting off. So I didn't open it up. I haven't opened it up and done, like a huge inspection. But so this has CTS pots. It's hand wired. It's not, and this pickup, man, this thing will cook.
Yeah.
It will absolutely cook. And
You can get with amp settings, like when I play that guitar on my Orange V60 Pro, um, it's fine. It's nice and twangy and everything else. You can really get those tones out of the middle and the neck pickup.
yeah,
So you can still have that.
yeah,
You're not giving that up. So what I tried to do with that guitar is give you three guitars in one. And for $250, I think I way underpriced it. I just do. It's been out for review with several reviewers. We haven't gotten anybody that said, "Wow, you could have done this, you could have done that." Our Tease Guitars motto is building better than budget guitars, and
yeah.
that's what we do. That guitar right there is anything but budget. I mean, that guitar gigs on Broadway, bro. You know?
And so we can, somebody wants to get a Tease guitar. We're going to put the link in description of the video, and you use the code BRAD5, and that gives them a $5 discount. And this is not an Amazon guitar. This is purchased straight through the company's website. And the thing about a lot of those budget guitars on Amazon is they've always got some cockamamie, name and a lame logo. But this, I mean, I've got a Tom Anderson over in the corner, and I tell you what, this is just as classy looking a headstock as that guitar. And man, I can't believe for $250 you get this much guitar. It's really pretty incredible. And look, for us old guys who used to drink beer back in the day, you got the tummy cut, and man, I'm a fan. I don't play Telecasters for that reason, because it's usually just this big block, and you feel like you've got this. But having that tummy cut is awesome, and it's also a really comfortable weight. Now you've got this. Now you also have like a purple burst or something, right?
Yeah, we got a purple burst, we got a teal burst, and we have the silver burst. We have new colors coming out that are more traditional, black and white, Pacific blue, things like that. Those will be coming here shortly. And but yeah, the black, white, the purple, those are the purples. I think I've got two left, right?
Okay.
Out of what did we order? 48 of those.
Okay.
We ordered, I think we got 250 guitars, and we got those July 4th. Was it July 4th weekend? I think it was July 4th weekend is when we got them in. I think they were ready to ship out on the 10th, because those guitars right there, they go through you don't just get a guitar that comes from overseas, comes off the boat, and then goes out to your house, man. You'll notice that every box you get is taken out of the box. And we go through those guitars, and we check for scratchy pots. We make sure that the strings are all aligned perfectly. And 9 times out of 10, well, I'm going to say 19 out of 20 times, everything's fine with the guitar. But it's the one that we catch is the one that's important, because that's the one we don't want you to get. So
Yeah.
we repolish the frets. Okay. We do a standard tune-up on it. We set up on it. We don't change the strings or anything for it. We offer a pro setup to where we'll go up to 3,000 on the standard setup. We go up to 2,000 to polish your frets, but we just go through and take it for a spin before you do, right? And that way, and again, you're $250, man. This is a guitar that you're gonna get. You're gonna take it out of the box. Your guitar got nothing special, bro.
Yeah.
The action is going to be set about 1.5. If I get a hold of it, maybe a little lower, because it's kind of what I do. But every Monday, I've got 2 other guys that come in here. We sit down and we just knock out whatever we sold for the weekend, and
Wow.
and we just go through these guitars. It's an amazing guitar, man. The playability, the tonality of it, it's an amazing guitar. But again, you can take there's all kinds of budget guitar companies out there. They take all these planks of wood, they put great components in them with no thought. And the thought of that company is not the guitar, it's the sale.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Tease Guitars we're a relationable company. We're not transactional.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We want and if anybody were to go look at any kind of social media that we have, every time I do a video on YouTube or something on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is, it's always welcome to the family, man.
Yeah.
You've got an issue, call.
Yeah. Yeah. You can actually get you on the phone. Yeah.
I'll make it right, bro. That's what I do. I'll make it right. I tell people all the time, do a deep dive on Tease Guitars and find me a bad review, because if there is one, I want to know about it. Only because I want to make it right.
Yeah.
My life depends on making stuff right.
Yeah.
I've not made stuff right too long in my life to not want to make it right. And I'm going to tell you this right now, man. I don't care what you're going through in life. Today is a great day to be sober, right?
Yes, it is.
That's what I'm saying. For me, and I don't care what you're going through.
Yeah.
And life is life. There's, for me, there's no good things. There's no bad things. There's just things. And I'm going to go through them, the whatever it is, but we put a lot of that guitar plays like that guitar is supposed to play, and it plays, I mean, beautifully, man.
Yeah, it plays super easy.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's no rough edges, and the neck is super smooth. So if you're familiar with, although the cool thing is it's not like super thin. You know, I'm not a fan. I like more of a vintage feel of a neck. And this has, it's just like maybe a little bit bigger than a modern C, but it's got some heft to it. So you're not feeling like you're playing this little tiny little thing that's, you know, is not substantial. This is a substantial neck. It's got a two-piece, so the fretboard, and this is a unique thing, right? So it's got a maple fretboard put on top of the maple neck. Now that's like a collectible thing as far as old Fenders go. They call them maple cap Telecasters. And they are known to have a certain snap to them and sound to them that is highly desirable. And this guitar, like I said, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting to play it. And I was expecting to have to tune it every 2 seconds and do all this. I didn't change the strings. I didn't do anything. I just plugged it in and played it right out of the box. I tuned it up and I didn't have to retune it again. It just played and sounded great. Now you've got other guitars. If you're looking for something less expensive, if you can even imagine that, you've got some other guitars that are even lower than this, correct?
Yeah, we do. We've got our ST1. That's our it's kind of our flagship, man. It's our workhorse. I'll say that. We've coming up on almost 1,000 units out in the street. Remember, we're only a 2-year-old company, and Tease Guitars has not spent $1, not $1 on advertising. We haven't done a Google ad, we haven't done a Facebook, nothing paid. And so we do word of mouth, and word of mouth is we're selling some guitars, bro. So we've
Yeah.
got a little ST1 guitar. It's not little. It's full size, full thickness body. It's actually swimming pool routed. So if you grow out of the beginner, which is a single setup, which sounds real nice, by the way, it's got great tones to it too. We've got a bridge that stays in tune. We've got 18-to-1 tuners on that guitar, stainless steel frets,
Wow.
same neck as that guitar. I took that neck, our other neck on the SB and the SBH were a 1/4 millimeter thinner. Okay.
Okay.
And the guitar felt good, not great. You said it though, it didn't feel solid,
Yeah.
right? And so I took that long skinny neck plate off the back and I fattened it up and widened it to make it. And then I added a 1/4 millimeter to the neck. And you almost feel as though you could drop that guitar, pick it up and just start playing it again. That's how solid it feels in
Yeah.
your hand. You know, the ST1, same deal.
And you can see right in here, plenty of, connection here. This is not a Gibson. This is not gonna, you could knock this over and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's, it's really incredible, how great. And I was surprised there's a gig bag in there
Yeah. Yeah. It's
with
just
the logo on it.
yeah, it's not a dust cover. It's 5 millimeters of padding in there. And I'll be honest with you, man, the reason that we use those gig bags is to protect them from UPS, man. That's it's cheaper than bubble wrap, believe it or
Yeah.
not. It's
Yeah.
just crazy. But no, man, the ST1 is a great guitar. Again, we sold over 1,000. That guitar actually gigs on Broadway as well. I
Yeah.
can't tell you the names of the plays that it's on, but they're not little plays.
Yeah.
Nothing on Broadway. It's not off Broadway. It's on Broadway. They're all
Yeah.
big productions. Those guitars have to be approved
Yeah.
to be played, right?
Yeah.
Whoever the producer is goes that, and then every chair that comes in has to play our guitar, which is it's phenomenal for a 2-year-old company. And
Wow.
importantly, an old drunk like me, right, can design something and have it being played on Broadway is pretty cool, man.
That is incredible. It's an incredible story of salvation, of integrity, and the power of the human spirit through adversity. And here's the thing. No matter what you went through in your past and what the rock and roll lifestyle did, and it left a lot of damage in its wake, but the music is what also can pull us out and give us salvation. Because no matter whether you're 20 years old and acting like a jackass, or you're older guys like us and have figured out how to live life, it's the music that still lives on. And it gives us, like for me, I tell my wife, look, this is what I do. I play guitar, and it doesn't matter whether I'm, 80 years old or 50 years old or what, if you saw me when I was 20, it'd be the same thing. I wake up in the morning and I think about guitar and I think about music, and that is what keeps us going. And so having this great brand, and man, like I said, it's hard to see with the light, but it's a killer logo. I mean, I just think that is super cool. And I think marketing wise, the name is a great name. And it's a name that you can grow as far as when this thing keeps building steam and keeps building steam, man, you could do all kinds of cool things because that name it's a great brand.
I agree with you. I'll tell you one thing. You were talking about that guitar and the other guitars. Um, if you don't want to take a chance, and this is not a sales pitch, this is reality. If you don't want to take a chance, and you want to buy your guitar from Amazon, and you know what, rock on with yourself. That's fine. But if you're a beginner guitar player, our guitars are the guitar for you. Period, bar none. They stay in tune. You ain't got to mess with them. You don't got to pay the extra $100 to go take them down to Guitar Center and have them possibly set your guitar up right. The neck relief is set on them, the intonation spot on, as close as it's going to get for any kind of a budget guitar. With the Pro setup, we strobe tune it and it's perfect. But if you check that one, it's there. It's right there. Maybe a smidgen out, but unless you're a Broadway musician, you're not going to notice that anyway. So, but if you're a beginner, man, I can tell you that both you and I, Brad, boy, what was your first guitar like? Did you have to stand on the strings to even touch the fretboard, or you know what I mean?
It was a Univox, so that explains it, right? Remember those?
Yeah, man. Mine was a Dan Electro, and it was a halfway decent guitar. I just couldn't get the fret. I couldn't fret. It was like playing a stand-up bass, man.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was. So, but yeah, like I said, if you're a beginner, man, you just don't want to take any risks or chances or anything like that. Yeah, check out our website. The prices are reasonable. You'll see that we're just a solid company, man. There's no bad reviews. We're not there to get you off the phone and give you a $40 discount because something's wrong with your guitar. I'll take your guitar back, I'll fix it, or I'll send you a new one. And you ain't got to, well, I'll send you a new one. And then if you threw away the box, I trust you. I'm going to trust you until you give me a reason not to. I'll send you out a new guitar. You got two guitars in your hand. I got money for one. But I think you'll send it back, So hope I'm not opening up any doors there. I don't
Yeah,
think
no, we don't want any shenanigans because this is a straight up company, and really the way that we hooked up was I believe the last name is McAllister.
Yeah.
He sent you an email. Now, he was in my live chat the other day and he said, hey, I'm the guy that sent you over to Tease Guitars. And I said, well, man, and I actually talked about the guitar yesterday in my live stream. And so there were probably about 400 or 500 people that saw the stream. But I said, I'm just giving you a tease and just showing it, just played a little bit on it. And then I said, I'm going to put out a full interview and a full demo of the guitar and provide the link so everybody can get one. And, here's the thing, man. This thing will rock. I'm telling you, this is, you kick that thing in there and you've got some gain on it. Forget about it. It will rock. So this is a guitar, but I was playing jazz. I was playing jazz on the neck pickup.
Yeah.
So there is a lot that can be done on a guitar like this, and this is like a Swiss Army knife guitar because, like you said, you can roll back that volume knob and clean up that bridge, and it's still got plenty of twang. If somebody calls a Garth Brooks song or something on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
gig,
Yeah.
but this I would have no problem taking to a gig. And the thing is, man, I think every guitar player needs a guitar like this because let's be real. It's a dangerous world out there. And we all, if guys like me, yeah, we've got a bunch of different guitars, but a guitar like this is going to sound great. It's going to play in tune. It's going to look cool, and then you don't have to worry about it on your gig. You're not worried. If you take a Les Paul, I wouldn't take a Les Paul to a gig if you paid me, because all it takes is one guy to just oops, and the thing's shattered on the floor, and you got a broken headstock. Then your guitar's worth $1,000 less, and it's like you just paid to play a gig, basically.
Absolutely.
This guitar will get the job done. You'll play the gig. It'll look cool as heck. I mean, the painted headstock with that reflective, almost like a mirror style logo. Man, it's a really cool guitar, and I'm thankful that people on the internet thought this would be a good match, because I think it is. Having our experience on the Sunset Strip and kind of this, finding ourselves later in life and figuring out the meaning of life. I think it's a valuable message, and I think this is a great thing. So we're going to put the link in description. You're going to get the code BRAD5. I'll put it up here so everybody can see it. And check out the website. You'll see what guitars are available. You'll see the different models they have. They've got those Strats. Now, how much are those Strats style guitars?
Well, they would be they're $144.95, and that's shipped, by the way. The 250 on that guitar, that includes free shipping, and that's
Wow.
if you live in Oregon, right? We ship it to you. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's coming from New York. Same thing, 144.95. You got the Brad 5 off there, $140 for. I'm going to tell you this, and you know this. That neck right there, that's
Yeah.
worth $140 right there,
Yeah.
bro. The neck and the tuners, it just is. You know what I mean?
I've spent that much, yeah, on just a neck, and yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it
And
is.
everybody has pickup preferences and stuff like this. So this is also a great platform for somebody that says, well, I want more of a traditional telly. Well, for 250, you just buy whatever pickup you want and slap it in there,
Right.
and you can have any tone that you want. But man, for me, I'm not changing a damn thing,
Right.
because I've always was a guy that was playing the Sunset Strip, and then when country music changed, it was like, oh, you want to do a country gig? Yeah, I'll go do this country tour, but I'm still going to be the same guy that was playing the Strip. So I would always put some, a hot pickup like that in my telly, and I'd hit power chords, and, I just play a little bit more major pentatonic as opposed to minor pentatonic.
Right. Yeah.
But man, this is really cool. Once again, the link will be in description. Brad5 is the code. Check out the website. Say hi to Torsten. Tell him badbrad sent you. Shaka bra, dude. You can say dude, because that's one thing on my channel. We dude everybody in the morning, dude. Because how many times did we hear that living in California? But
Right.
man, I just want to thank you so much, salute you, and commend you for a great guitar, a cool company, and offering incredible value to guitar players out there.
It's our pleasure, man. It really is. It's our pleasure.
Thank you so much, Torsten. I wish you the best. I will stay in touch with you, and you have a great day, sir.
All right, you as well, bro. I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. All
All
right,
right.
sounds good.
Peace.
you.